Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, as Anna says, my name is Martin Miller. I'm the head of campus services here at the university, and I also look after the university's accommodation. So I'm going to go through a little bit of what we've got available at the university, talk to you about the accommodation, talk to you about the options, the places that we can offer for you to stay. I'll talk a little bit about the process and about prices. I won't go into too much detail because there's lots of information on our website. There's lots of ways to find out more details and get the kind of exact up-to-date information, and I'll signpost you to all of those areas. But I want to make sure that I go through a bit of an overview of what we've got available. I'll also then talk about some of the most important things for me in terms of accommodation, which is making sure that everybody who comes to study here has a great place to live, that they've got an opportunity to be part of the wider community here in Leicester, and that they get a chance to meet other students, both kind of undergraduate, postgraduate, international students, home students, and to be part of the the fantastic community that we have here in the at the university. So let me start by talking to you about the village. So we have about 4,000 bed spaces at the University of Leicester, and that's enough for everybody who wants a room. We actually have a guarantee at the university for accommodation that covers postgraduates as well as undergraduates, and that means that if you want to live with us, we guarantee you a space in our accommodation as long as you are in your first year of study. So whether that's a postgraduate course or not, if it's your first time studying at the university, then you're still eligible for the guarantee. If you apply by the 1st of September, we will make sure that you've got a place in our managed accommodation, and that will be across 2 different sites. So we have the village, which is located a little bit away from the main academic campus, and City Living, which I'll talk about next. So the village is an amazing site. It's in a beautiful part of the city. It's just south of the main academic campus. As it says on the screen, around about 2 miles away. It has the advantage of being a little bit further away, which allows... Can everybody hear me there? Is that okay? Is everybody else, anybody else struggling, or are we okay? Excellent. Thank you, Hannah. So we've got, so it takes advantage of being out in a really nice green open space in a suburb of the city. It's a really beautiful area of Leicester, and there's lots of space, lots of different types of accommodation, which allows us to allows residents there to take advantage of lots of facilities, including the Botanic Gardens. All the university's sports pitches are located out at the village. We've got dedicated study facilities. We've got computer rooms. We've got lots of different social spaces, a pub, as well as games rooms, cinema rooms, music rooms. So it's a real advantage to have all of that space. We've even got an allotment where students can go and grow their own food as well, which is a great option for those who want to get outside and make the most of the full area. So there's lots happening in the village. It's available to undergraduates and postgraduate students. All of our sites are available to both groups, but the way that we manage the allocation of those rooms is that we would only put postgraduate students together in the same flats, so you wouldn't be mixed in with undergraduate students, and you would in most cases also be in an individual block with just other postgraduate students as well. So although you get a chance to live alongside each other, you're not kind of in the same flats or in the same buildings. There's lots of although the village is a little bit further outside of the city, there's lots of transport options, and I will touch on this again, but we do have a free shuttle bus service which allows you to jump on and off of the bus throughout the term. You can get straight onto campus. It also goes directly past the University School of Business, and it's actually easier to get to the School of Business from the village just because of where that campus is located in the city. So it's well worth thinking about that when you're having perhaps a look at the different options. The next site that we have is called City Living. So we have lots more accommodation located right next to the main campus or integrated within the academic campus. You've then got what I would say is more traditional student accommodation, taller buildings around cluster flats. You get to take advantage, obviously, of being close, being able to walk to all of the academic buildings. You've got convenient access to all of the facilities on campus. There's a gym, swimming pool. You've got all of the student union facilities, food outlets, the 24/7 library, and the new Freeman's Commons site. You've also got our brand new teaching and learning centre as well. So you're right in the heart of it. It's a really great place to be. It's only a short walk from the city centre itself, which means that you can really take advantage of everything that's happening around Leicester. You can also jump on the bus for free if you're living in the city. So if you do want to get over to the business school, that's an option for you. And it's just another choice. It's just something to consider when thinking about where you might want to live. So within those two kind of sets of within those two locations, there's lots of different room types, and we've again trying to provide as much choice as possible. That's to hopefully meet the needs of each individual and the facilities that you require, but also thinking about all the different price points as well, making sure that we've got affordable options as well as some perhaps more expensive options as well. And I will talk about rents in a little bit. So when you go through the application process, once you've decided whether you want to live in the village or city, you're then presented with all the different room options. So we've got everything from twin rooms all the way up to one-bed flats. Twin room, you'd be sharing with another person, and you'd then share kitchen and bathroom facilities. If you're in a single bedroom, you would then again be sharing bathroom and kitchen facilities with other people in your flat. Where we do have shared facilities, you would normally be sharing on a ratio of 1:2 or 1:3 with other people. So that means there'd be one bathroom for every 2 or 3 rooms, depending on which property you're looking at. All of that information is available on the website, so you get to see exactly what you're applying for. When it comes to the shared kitchens, you've got, again, the option of sharing with 3 people all the way up to 12 people, depending on the property that you're looking at and everything in between. So it's well worth taking a look at that detail when you're going through the website, thinking about what's going to be important for you. Do you want to be part of a kind of a smaller flat community where there might be 3 or 4 of you, 5 of you maybe sharing a kitchen, or do you want to be in maybe a more lively kind of environment, lively flat, where there could be kind of 9, 10, or like I say, up to 12 people sharing. Obviously, the size and of the facilities in the flat increases as there are more people sharing. So there's plenty of space for everybody to do what they need to do. All of our rooms are self-catered, which means that the kitchens are fully equipped to allow you to look after and cook for yourselves. So it's worth having a look at all those different options, thinking about what's going to be important for you. From your facilities, you've got the single. If you then want a private bathroom, we have ensuite options as well. If you want a bit more of your own private space, we have studio flats, which means you've got a private bathroom and ensuite, as well as in the same kind of single room, you've got a little kitchenette, so you can cook for yourself, study space and bed, or a 1-bed flat, which means you've got an extra room. So in one room, you'll have your bedroom with your ensuite, and then in another room you would then have your kitchen and living space and study space. So there's lots of information on the website about this, which means you're able to look at 360 tours and photos and get a real sense of the space, including some floor plans. In terms of what's included in the room, you've got everything in there that you need. So all of the furniture as you'd expect. The price includes all of the Wi-Fi connections, all utility bills. It includes personal contents insurance. It includes access to all of the Res Life activities as well. And we've tried to make it as easy as possible, so it's really clear that you've got a single price that you're paying. So you're not having to worry about kind of any added extras. There's no kind of sign-up fees for utilities. There's no fair usage policies. There's no worries about kind of, hidden costs or increased prices throughout the year. What you sign up for when you make your application is exactly what you're going to pay, and you can have that confidence over the full length of that contract that you look at. So everything is as part of that package. I've already mentioned the guarantee, but just to finish off that application process, you also get the opportunity to tell us a few more things about what's important to you. So not only your location and the room type, and you can tell us what your most important preference is on that front, but also whether you want to be in a single gender or mixed gender flat, and we have multiple available. And like I say, we will only allocate kind of postgraduate students together. We wouldn't mix flats with undergraduates, and we do our best not to make anybody feel isolated. So we will generally allocate people, in flats with a mix of other people. So we wouldn't have all international students and one kind of home student, or vice versa. We also wouldn't have, any other mismatch in terms of ages and things like that. We try to make sure there's a good balance so that it's a good kind of community to be in. In terms of getting around, I know this is a question that I kind of touched on before, but we do have the free shuttle service. So that runs Monday to Saturday through the term time. It means that you can get to and from campus if you're in the village, or if you're in the city, you can get out to the village or the business school. It runs at peak time every 5 minutes. So there's lots of opportunity to be able to get in and out of, in and out of campus or out to other destinations. It then runs, at least every 15 or 20 minutes during the kind of majority of the day, and at a weekend on a Saturday it also runs kind of every 20 to 30 minutes, and it starts during the week from about 7 a.m. and runs through till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So there's lots of ways to get to and from. If you're living in the city, everything's within walking distance, which is great, but we also do have bike storage, bike shelters at the accommodation and across all of the academic sites. And it's, like I say, nice and easy to walk about. It's a really walkable city in Leicester. Hopefully everybody will take the opportunity to explore the area. But then there's always lots of questions regarding prices. There are a lot of different price points. It really is all about choice. So it's well worth having a look at the website to think about what is going to be affordable for you and what you're going to need from your room. But we do have twin rooms starting from £65 a week. So again, that's where you'd be sharing with somebody else. Our cheapest kind of single bedroom, where you've got your own space but shared kitchen and bathroom facilities, would be £75 a week at Southmead Court. So that's in the village. We then have single bedrooms with wash basin in the city, starting at £95 a week. So again, you're sharing bathroom and kitchen with other people, but you get your own room with wash basin. En suites in the village starting at £155 a week, and in the city we've got the single en suites starting at around about £186 a week. So that's again a broad kind of price range in terms of what's available to you, where you're sharing kitchen facilities. And then if you do want that extra bit of personal space, we have single studio flats starting from around about £190, going all the way up to the one-bedroom flats, which are £236 a week. So all of that, as I said before, includes all those bills. There's no kind of extras, hidden extras. It's all upfront in terms of that contract. We offer a range of contracts to postgraduate students. So you can actually apply for a 40 week contract in the city or a 42-week contract. You can also apply for a 50-week contract or a 52-week contract, which means that if you do need to be here for the full year, if you've got studies or if you've got writing up time or anything that you need, then you can actually get a contract up front for that full period. If you do choose one of the shorter contracts, then you can also add on time to either side. So if you want to arrive a little bit early, you can do that. You would only pay then on a nightly basis. And if you wanted to stay into the summer, then you can also do that as well through our summer accommodation. And in most cases, we're able to offer students to stay in the same room that they've been living in during term time. So, well worth thinking about what you're going to need for your accommodation, how long, you might actually need to be in Leicester in terms of that study, thinking about that at the beginning, and picking hopefully the right contract for you. But as I've said, it's not the end of the world. If you do think you need some extra time, we are able to be flexible around that. So lots of information on what the prices are. You can actually filter through the website on different price points, and there's also information on the university's general websites about financial support and about payments. In terms of the kind of the initial payment and the application process, once you've decided that you want to come and study at Leicester, you can then make an application via the accommodation portal. You just need your University of Leicester ID number. So you enter your ID number to create an account. You then go through the portal. It takes you through all of the steps that you need to take, selecting the room, giving us the specific information about yourself. It also, will prompt you to check what contract lengths you want on all of those different things. At the point at which you are happy with your application, you can submit it to the team. We then receive it, and then as soon as you're confirmed at the university, your academic offer is confirmed, the accommodation team will then send you an offer of accommodation based on that application. So it doesn't cost anything to put in an application. It's completely free. Once we've then received it, and we will allocate you a room based on the application, we will then send you back an offer. You will then have 5 days to review the offer, to accept or reject it. I always encourage you to try and find, to take a look at it. And if you're not sure about why you've been given that offer, or you're not sure about it because of the location that we've offered you, instead of rejecting it straight away, just to contact us, speak to the team, give us a call, send us an email, because it's much easier to deal with a live application. If you do reject it, it's likely that you might have to reapply again, and that might put you further down the list. We do try our best to allocate rooms on a first come, first served basis. So the earlier you apply for accommodation, the better chance you have of getting one of your top choices. It's not guaranteed, but it certainly helps if you are a little bit earlier. So at the point at which you are hopefully happy with the offer that we've sent, you will then go through the process of being able to review the terms and conditions, again, check the advert again, check that it's everything that you wanted. And at that point, when you're ready to accept the offer, you would be asked to pay a £250 prepayment. So that £250 isn't a deposit. We don't hold on to it until the end of the contract. It's actually a prepayment which is taken off your first term's invoice. So for the majority of students, they will pay their accommodation in 3 installments throughout the year, with the first rent installment due in October, then March, and then May. So that £250 prepayment is reduced from your October rent payment. So it's already taken off that rent amount, and that means then that you're only paying off the rest of that contract. If you do want to pay in different installments, you can also pay by term or semester, or you can also pay as a flat fee up front if you want to. It's up to you, and you get to select that option when you go through the application process. Hopefully that's helpful in terms of outlining some of the prices and some of the cost elements. Like I say, once you have signed up and you've agreed and you've got the contract that you want, that is the total amount that you pay. There is no extras once you arrive. So we've talked a lot about the different locations, the different choices between the village and the city, some of the benefits, all of the different room types that we have, and some of the different kind of facilities. But one of the most important things, and one of the best things, in my opinion, about living in university accommodation is you get to take advantage of being part of that broader community. Particularly if it's your first time studying in Leicester or your first time kind of living in Leicester, it's really nice to know that when you are coming for that year or longer, that you've got an opportunity to meet other students who are studying at the university, whether that's on the same program as you or similar postgraduate programs, that you get to meet people outside of your course, outside of the academic study. And we try and do that as best we can through our events program and with our residential advisors. So we have a team of RAs who are current students who are studying at the university. They have lived in accommodation in the past, so they know what it's all about. They're really helpful to be able to answer some of those kind of questions, just normal day-to-day things about where the shops are, or how to get help with local transport, or whether you've got a query about the who's best to talk to about at the university about a specific problem. They can signpost you to the right place. But they also put on loads of different events and activities to help get people together, get people kind of out their space, out their rooms, and meeting and doing loads of different fun events. So for me, this is one of the best things about Leicester. We really do a lot to try and bring people together, and we do have lots of postgraduates living with us that do take advantage of this. All of the Res Life activities that we put on are free and included as part of what we do. Some of the events might be ticketed, but that's not because you're having to pay for them. That's just so that we can kind of manage how many people are coming, so we get an idea of what we might need to buy in, whether we're getting food. You can see on here a real range of events, from coffee nights, food nights, to kind of games, tournaments, to real specific stuff like craft, or kind of we do wellbeing stuff. There's also lots of trips that we'll put on throughout the year. So if you're interested in getting out into the community, or again going with a group of kind of like-minded people to go and see something different outside of Leicester, then we'll put on coaches and we'll go and visit places of interest around the area. So it's a great way just to get involved and to be part of everything that's going on. That's obviously the event side of Res Life. There's also an important support side that we do, that we think about. So our Res Life team also include the 2 24/7 receptions that we have. We've got a reception at Freeman's Common, which is part of the City Living site, and then we also have a reception in the village. That means there's always someone there who you can go and talk to if you need anything. So if you've got any kind of specific kind of challenges, issues, or you just want to go and say hello, then you can drop in. It's also where you collect all of your post. So again, you can do that on a 24/7 basis. You're not having to wait for anything. All of the sites and all the universities are also supported by a dedicated security team. So they are working 24/7 patrolling the area, but they're also accessible via the phone or via a fantastic app that we have that you can download to your phone called Safe Zone. That gives you the ability to kind of check in and out of sites if you want to. So should you need any support, whether that's from security or as a first aid request, that you can actually tap a button, you can show security where you are, and they can help get straight to you and give you whatever help you need. We also then connect with all of the support services, welfare, wellbeing at the university, and we can help signpost you to the right place if you do need any help, whether that's to do with personal wellbeing, or whether that's to do with finance, whether it's to do with academic study. We can help make sure that you get to the right place, and it's really helpful to be part of that wider community. And then one of the newer services that we have at the university is access to our partner Health Assured. That's 24/7 access to a counselling service on the phone, via text or Teams, and you can speak to a trained counsellor at any time, again, about any subject if you've got any worries, and they're able just to be there to help, to listen, and also then to be able to signpost you back in for some of that support, or to take forward some sessions with you as well. So, it is really about providing, hopefully, a holistic service. So I've spoken quite a bit there about all of the different things and choices that we have. I can see that there's some questions that have been coming in, which is great. So I will get to those in just a moment. But it'd be really useful, I think, if you haven't already, to take a little look at the website. You can see some of the accommodation, through 360 tours, through some of the YouTube videos that we've got. There's also a specific YouTube video that takes you step by step, with a screen view of the application process, so you can see exactly what it looks like and what you need to do. We've got all of the social accounts as well, which the Res Life team post to, so you can see exactly what we're up to and if the kind of things we're doing are interesting. If there's stuff that you're interested in that we're not doing, it'd be great to, hear your views, and, hopefully if you were to come and live with us, to recommend things, and the Res Life team are always working with residents, with students, to try and put on things that we haven't thought of. So that'd be great. And then, of course, if you still, can't find the answers that you need, then you can contact the 24/7 receptions, either on the phone or via the accommodation email. So I'll go through just some of these questions to hopefully answer any outstanding questions. So accommodation, first question was about accommodation rates, which is provided at the university, and also private rent. So I think I've gone through the accommodation costs. Like I say, everything's starting for a single bedroom from £75 a week, or in the village, or £95 a week for a standard kind of single bedroom, all the way up to £190 to £230 a week for the one bed flats or the studios. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of what the costs are, but there's lots more detail about individual rooms via the website. So the village is available for postgraduate students. That's another question in there. It's there are specific locations in the village that we've kind of allocated for postgraduate students. That means that, again, you're not sharing with kind of undergraduates. You've kind of got some of your own space. And when you go through the application process, you actually get to select, you go through what we call a pathway. So you select that you are a postgraduate, and that shows you the options which are relevant to you. So you're not going to see something, you're not then applying for something that isn't relevant, but just what's relevant to postgraduate students. So hopefully that's helpful. Do we provide, so there's a question here about providing temporary accommodation for international students. So we do provide a pretty broad range of contract lengths. I talked about some of the year-long offer that we have, so whether that's a 40-week, 42, or the 50 or 52-week contract. But we do also offer some shorter terms as well. So that might be a term one only, or semester one, or term two contracts. So it's, again, worth having a look. There's a little drop down when you're going through the application process that shows you all of the different contract date options, and then the dates as well. If you're looking for something really short term, then we can also offer, we might be able to offer something bespoke, certainly during the summer, in the run up to the main term in September. We do have kind of accommodation that you can book on a day-to-day basis. So it's, there are lots of different options that might meet those needs. So booking accommodation before the visas are processed. So you can book before the visa is processed. You can apply for accommodation as soon as Leicester, as soon as you've got a confirmed place to study at Leicester. So all you need is that University of Leicester ID. And then once you've kind of made that application, all the information about kind of where you're living is available once you've accepted the offer. I do have another question here, which is asking about family accommodation. So unfortunately, at the moment, we aren't able to offer any family accommodation. We've got a kind of limited availability for that type of space. But we do have the Sulets letting agent at the university, and that is a specific kind of rental agency or letting agency which is designed for students studying in Leicester. It's run by both the University of Leicester Students' Union and De Montfort University Students' Union, and they've got together to create this kind of letting agency run as a charity focused on finding great accommodation in the city. So it's well worth having a look at Sulets. They might then be able to find accommodation, whether you are looking for slightly larger space or family accommodation, houses locally, or if you're looking for something slightly different than the university accommodation, they will have all these other choices, and that's across different blocks and spaces and different kind of private housing in the city. So a question about can I book a separate room without a bathroom? Absolutely. Without sharing. So yeah, we do have a range of ensuite rooms where you have your own private bathroom, as well as then, like I've said, studio and one bed flats, which also have the ensuites. It really does depend on kind of what you need from the accommodation and the price. Often, or on the whole, you'll find that the ensuite accommodation is slightly more expensive than the accommodation with shared bathrooms. So you might want to take a look at the price point, the price difference. I also think it's important to think about what you need from that accommodation, whether actually once you arrive, it's not actually it might not be that big a deal that you're sharing a bathroom. Most of our shared bathroom facilities are on a kind of 1 to 2 basis, so there might only be 2 people sharing a bathroom, or 1 to 3, which isn't too bad. The other advantage with the shared bathroom facilities is that the accommodation team will clean them, on a weekly basis and restock them on a weekly basis as well. Whereas in the ensuite rooms, you're kind of responsible for looking after your own facilities. So, for lots of students, particularly if it's your first time living in university-style accommodation, I appreciate it can be a little bit daunting, but actually, when you do arrive and you meet your flatmates and you're in that kind of smaller cluster, it's not always the end of the world, and actually, it can be a great way to go if you are looking to save some money. So the next question in here is about rent deductions for early booking. So we don't offer any specific rent deductions for booking early. The price published is, the price that will be set for that academic year, and that is available now to see through the website. So it's the only advantage I would say to booking early is really that we do allocate rooms on a first come first served basis. So the earlier we receive the application, the earlier we're able to process it, the much better chance we've got of being able to give you an offer for one of the rooms that you've wanted, one of your top choices. We obviously don't have unlimited numbers of every room type. So when you're looking at the application form, and thinking about your choices, it's worth looking on the adverts, the room adverts, to see how many rooms of each type there are. Because for some of our accommodation, there might be only 10 or 20 of a certain room type. For other rooms, there might be up to 700 of a certain room type. So it's helpful to have maybe a bit of a mix in there in terms of the application to make sure that you've got some realistic choices. Nixon Court is absolutely available to postgraduate students, as well as Freeman's Common. So the city living is made up of 3 halls: Nixon, Freeman's Common and Opal Court. Nixon Court has the kind of cheapest accommodation available in the city at £95 a week, and that's all kind of single bedroom with wash basin, shared bathroom, shared kitchen facilities. We also have ensuite rooms at Nixon Court and some studios. And then the Freeman's Common development is brand new this year, so opened in September. So, for the year, for September coming, it will only be the second year that a lot of that accommodation has been used. So it's a great facility, fantastic space. And again, there we've got some non-ensuite, so some shared bathrooms, as well as we've got some with a mix with either standard ensuite, premium ensuite, studio flats or one-bed flats as well. Opal Court is located just the other side of the academic campus, still within walking distance of everything, but probably closer to the medical school and some of the kind of science buildings. And again, there you've got all ensuite options. So 2 ensuite options and a studio flat option. I've had a question about couples in university accommodation. So similar to the question about family accommodation, unfortunately, we don't have an offer for couples specifically. All of our rooms are kind of single occupancy only, so it might be worth thinking about Sulets to find something locally. I had a question if you're expected to cook on your own. Yep. So I think I mentioned it before, but all of the accommodation is self-catered. So we don't have any catered rooms. There are facilities in all of the accommodation to be able to cook for yourself. There are local supermarkets as well to be able to get the supplies you need. You do obviously have the option to use some of the university outlets, both in the city, and there's also a kind of an outlet in the village hub at the village accommodation. But it's not what you would say is traditional catering. That's just more like going to kind of a normal, one of our normal outlets, cafes, restaurants. It is all self-catered accommodation. I had a question about the weather in the summer. So probably quite an optimistic question for the UK. Is there air conditioning? It can get a little bit warm if we're lucky. It's never for very long, unfortunately, in the UK. It's normally quite temperate, particularly in Leicester. We're in the middle of the country. We're quite far away from the coast. But, when it does get a little bit warmer, although we don't have air conditioning, and not many places in the UK, certainly not kind of living areas or bedrooms will have air conditioning, but we do try and do what we can in terms of providing fans, and also we've got in lots of buildings great insulation and ventilation. So I wouldn't worry too much. There might be short periods of warmth, but we'd be lucky if we get much more than that. And travel to Leicester is one of the final questions as well. So we do, there's lots of ways to get to Leicester itself. There's lots of train services, bus services from across the country from various airports that you can choose. I mentioned about the kind of adding additional days or the early arrival. If you have a flight that perhaps arrives a few days early before your contract is due to start, or it's cheaper to get a flight, a little bit early, a few days early, or a week or 2 weeks early, then that's no problem. You can add that to you can add, day by day, those dates to the start of your contract. The same at the end of the contract, you can always add some additional days on, and we'll always try and keep you in the same room. So we'll try and help with that kind of whole arrival process. We do have some set airport pickups that happen around the start of term in September. So that information isn't available at the moment for booking, but hopefully it will be available in probably, the next kind of month or so, maybe next couple of months. So it's worth keeping an eye out on the university website and on the communications emails that the university sends out. There will be lots of reminders about, useful information for arrivals. There'll be information about the airport pickup service, and that will mean that you can get on a coach with other students and university staff, and they'll help you by bringing you directly to the university's accommodation and dropping you off. And then I've had and then the last question here is regarding electric utilities, or the type of personal items that we can have in rooms. So hopefully kind of everything you need in a flat is in the accommodation is there, either in the shared spaces or in your room, depending on the type of room that you've chosen. We do limit certain items, and all of that information is available before you arrive. We wouldn't normally allow a refrigerator or fridge in somebody's room unless they've got a specific medical reason, in which case we will provide a fridge. There is, enough storage. There's enough fridges and freezers in all of the shared kitchens, so you've got your own space. You don't need to worry about having something specifically in your room. It works well in those kind of shared kitchens, but on the whole, kind of it's it's up to you what you want to bring, what you need in your room. Obviously, there are other specific limitations just from a safety perspective, but on the whole, it's whatever you want to bring. We have tried to provide as much for you, particularly if you're travelling from abroad, to make it easy. There's also the university's kind of shop website called Shop at LE, which allows you to buy bedding packs, kitchen packs, other kind of cooking equipment, electrical equipment, and other things before you arrive, which you can purchase to be delivered to your hall of residence, which means that when you do arrive, you've got all of that bulky stuff, all those large items available to you when you arrive, and you don't have to then worry about kind of going out to buy something or kind of carting off to the shops, particularly if you're arriving at night. You can have it all set up ready for yourself. So when will the university start issuing the CAS letters? I'm afraid I'm not 100% sure on that one, so I might have to defer to my colleague Hannah at the end, but we can also direct your question to one of my colleagues who will be able to respond to that one. And then in terms of paying for accommodation, so the accommodation payments, like I say, are you only need to make your first kind of payment as it would be at the point of accepting an accommodation offer. So you don't need to pay to make an application. It's only at the point that you want to accept one of our offers that you would be asked for the £250. It can be paid via the website using a debit or credit card. If that's not available to you, then you can also pay by bank transfer, and all of the details for that are available on the website. So you just need to go through, pay with using your student ID number as a reference. You can pay by transfer, and then that secures your accommodation. And then to pay your rent whilst you're living with us, you can do the same thing. You can either pay by credit or debit card, or you can pay by bank transfer. Hopefully I've answered lots of questions. Just having a quick last look. Laundry included. So we don't have kind of laundry included in the fee. However, we do have laundry machines at all of our sites of accommodation, and you can pay as you need, so pay as you use the facilities. It's all contactless, so you can pay by card, credit card when you get here, Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever's easier. So hopefully it's nice and simple, and it's available right where you are within the blocks within the accommodation. And as Hannah said there, we don't provide bedding, but as I mentioned, you can, if you're worried about bringing bedding, you can actually go to shop@le.ac.uk, and that's the dedicated kind of university shop, which means you can get some bedding delivered straight to the reception. So when you arrive to collect your key, we'll have your bedding ready for you, so you can get straight set up in your room.
Thanks so much there, Martin. I think there was quite a few questions to be getting through, and I appreciate for those that have been listening. Some of them were obviously answered as Martin was presenting. I've given you a few links that hopefully will be quite useful, and Martin made reference to a few, I guess, email addresses or specific parts of our website that you can actually access. If you're happy just to stop sharing your screen, Martin, I'll then be able to just display a couple more pieces of information. So you very kindly at the beginning for me filled out one of the Menti polls just to find out where you were at the moment in terms of applying or conducting research. I'm just going to ask if you would be able to fill out the current Menti poll. Again, you can use your phone, open it up on the camera, take it as if you're going to take a photograph of the QR code and click through to the link, or you can go to menti.com I have actually linked this into the chat function, and you can type in that 8-digit code. It would just be great to know how useful you found the session. As Martin said, we're always open to finding out a little bit of feedback, other things that we can be improving, and what bits of information would you maybe like to know more about. So thank you for being so active in the chat. We really do appreciate that engagement, and hopefully we've been able to clarify quite a few of those queries that you maybe had. What I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to click through to the next slide, because I just want to make you aware of a few more pieces of information that we've got coming up. Over the next couple of weeks, we've got a real series of different live talks that are taking place. I know we've got quite a few international students who've been inquiring in the chat about a variety of different functions. We've got a whole host of specific sessions, and in one of those we'll be able to answer some more of those questions specifically about CAS. They typically take place in a process by either our international office in conjunction with our admissions team or directly with our admissions team. So if you are happy to, I guess, realistically get in touch with our admissions team, we do have our PG contact details that you'll be able to find on our website in terms of getting in touch specifically. We try, like every single institution across the UK, to process CAS letters as quickly as possible, but there are a series of processes that we obviously have to follow to ensure we're finding out the right information from you, we're waiting on visas, and just getting that process done as soon as possible. So you'll be able to see there, we've got the QR code that can take you to booking onto some of our upcoming webinars, and then also just to keep in touch with any of our upcoming information that we've got. We have recorded the session, actually, so if you are interested in having a recording of it, again, we have some central email addresses that you can get in touch with us to be able to send that over to you if that's something that you're interested in. I think just one final thing there that I'll just touch on, if you're happy for me to, Martin, is in terms of shared kitchens and groupings, there is a section of the application that has a notes function where if you have any other specifications or requirements that you want to make us aware of or preferences, we can't guarantee that we'll do absolutely everything, but they are all read and taken into consideration. So thank you very much for all of your questions today. It's much appreciated. We do have a central accommodation email address that you'll be able to get in touch if you've got any other further queries. So thank you so much for your participation today. Best of luck with conducting your research or wherever you are in the application process. Thank you so much.